This is Mrs. Wainwright's Math Class, Chapter 10, Lesson 10.7a, Part 10, Converting and Comparing Units of Time. We have 2 learning targets today. By the end of today's lesson, you should confidently be able to say, I can convert units of time, and I can compare units of time. And actually, converting and comparing units of time are very similar. We follow the same pattern and technique that we follow to convert customary units of measure. So let's take a look at example 1. Matthew was at Disney World for 5 full days. Lucky Matthew. How many hours did Matthew spend at Disney World? Well, as with any word problem, the first thing we need to do is see what it's asking us, underline the question. How many hours did Matthew spend at Disney World? What do I know? Well, I know that Matthew spent 5 full days at Disney World. But that's about it. There's no other number facts in that question. It is asking me, though, how many hours he spent at Disney World, not how many days. So they're telling me how many days, but I need to know how many hours. This sounds to me like a conversion problem. I will say 5 days equals how many hours? And that's what I'm going to convert. So I'll move to the next page and complete that conversion. So if 5 days equals blank hours. Well, again, I'm going to look at my units, days and hours. Days are longer or larger than hours, so this is going to be large to small conversion, and we know that large to small means multiplication. I take the given number, which is 5. I take the operation I just chose, which was multiplication, and now I need to figure out how many hours are in a day. You may know this, but if not, you'll look back at the chart, which you do need to have memorized for the test. So here's my chart. My left side is larger units, my right side is smaller units. First I see minutes and seconds, that doesn't help me. Next I see hours. I know I'm looking for hours, but this line compares hours to minutes. And I don't want hours to minutes, I want hours to days. So that's not going to help me. Okay, let's keep going down. My next column, this is converting days and hours, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. So that's perfect. I know that there are 24 hours in one day. So back in my problem, I'll write my conversion down, which is 24. 5 times 24, I don't know that by heart, so I'm going to use some scrap paper because I think scrap paper is faster and more accurate. So that's going to equal 120 hours. So I go back to my original question. Let's put in 5 days equals 120 hours. And the question says, how many hours did Matthew spend at Disney World? So my answer, Matthew spent 120 hours at Disney World. And that's the final answer. Please stop the video and complete worksheet number 1 right now. So let's take a look at example 2. Marco will spend much of his summer away from home. He'll spend 10 days with his grandparents, 9 days with his cousins, and 22 days at camp. How many weeks and days will Marco be away from home? Okay, as with any word problem, let's see what it's asking me. How many weeks and days will Marco be away from home? That's what I need to find out. Let's see what I know. Well, I know that I need weeks and days for my final answer. I know that he spent 10 days with his grandparents. He spent 9 days with his cousins, and he spent 22 days at camp. So do I know the full total amount of days that he spent? No, but I know 3 individual amounts. Sounds to me like this is going to be a 2-part problem. First, part A, I need to figure out how many days he spent away altogether. So what will I do for that? I'll add them. He spent 10 days with his grandparents, and 9 days with his cousins, and 22 days at camp. Let's see how many days that is altogether. 0 plus 9 is 9, plus 2 is 11. Put down the 1, carry the 1. The 1 and the 1 is 2, plus the 2 makes 4. So I know that Marco spent 41 days away this summer. Now for part B. I need to know how many weeks and days. So this sounds to me like a conversion problem. I'm going to convert 41 days, see how many weeks and days that is altogether. So I'm going to say 41 days equals blank weeks and blank days. Now I'll rewrite this problem on the next page and go ahead and do the conversion. So remember, when solving this type of problem, I look at my first unit on each side, days and weeks. And the last section will be for my remainder. So I have to look at days. Are days larger or smaller than weeks? Well, I know days are smaller than weeks, so this is going to be a small to large problem. We know that small to large means we divide. Take my given number, which is 41, my operation that I just chose, which is division, and now I need to see how many days there are in a week. I could look that up in my chart if necessary, but I think most of us know that there are 7 days in a week. So this problem is going to be 41 divided by 7. So I'll move to some scrap paper and say 41 divided by 7. 4 does not get a chocolate bar, but 41 does, so this is a 1 chocolate bar answer. And 7 goes into 41 5 times. 5 times 7 is 35. I'm going to subtract. Can't do 1 minus 5, so I'm going to cross out the 4, make it a 3. That becomes 11. 11 minus 5 is 6. 3 minus 3 is nothing. There's nothing to bring down, so I have 5, remainder 6. What does that do for me? My whole number is the number of weeks that I have, so I have 5 weeks. My remainder is the number of days. So I have 5 weeks and 6 days. Let's go back to the original problem. In part A, I added all the days together and got a total of 41 days. Then I did the conversion and found that 41 days equals 5 weeks and 6 days. So the question asks, how many weeks and days will Marco be away from home? My answer, Marco will spend 5 weeks and 6 days away from home. And that's the final answer. Please stop the video and complete worksheet number 2 right now. Example number 3. The Pear Computer Company claims that its laptop computer has a battery that lasts for 4 hours. The laptop ran for 200 minutes before the battery ran out. Is the Pear Company's claim accurate? I need to know if the Pear Company's claim is accurate. That's the question. That means, is it correct? Well, what do I know? I do know that they claim that their battery lasts for 4 hours. And what I really want to know is that correct? Does it last for 4 hours? Well, what else do I know? I know that the battery actually ran for 200 minutes before it ran out. So if 200 minutes is equal to 4 hours, then they're correct. It ran exactly 4 hours. If 200 minutes is greater than 4 hours, then they're also correct because it lasts for actually more than 4 hours. But if 200 minutes is less than 4 hours, then the Pear Company's claim is not accurate. It's not correct because it will not have lasted 4 hours. So let's say 4 hours. How does that compare? So I'll do a comparison circle to 200 minutes. Is 4 hours greater than 200 minutes? Is 4 hours less than 200 minutes? Is 4 hours equal to 200 minutes? So let's rewrite this comparison on the next page and continue solving this problem. When it's metrics, it doesn't really matter which side I use because I'm using King Henry, but this is hours and minutes, it's not metrics. So it doesn't matter which side, but it would be easier for me because I know I'd multiply if I'm changing my larger unit to a smaller unit. Therefore, what am I going to do? I'm going to find my larger unit and cross that one out. I have hours and minutes. Well, I know hours is larger, so I'll cross out 4 hours, and I'm going to convert that into blank. My unit on the other side is minutes. So I have 4 hours equals blank minutes. I take that crossed out side, and that's what I make into my new conversion problem. So I'm going to say 4 hours, which is what I crossed out, equals blank minutes, which is what I wrote above it. This is my new conversion. We know how to go do these conversions. We look at our units, hours and minutes. Hours are larger than minutes, so this will be a large to small conversion. We know large to small means multiplication. Take our given number, which is 4, the operation that we just chose, which is multiplication, and I need to know how many minutes are in an hour. So if I'm not sure how many minutes are in an hour, I can look back at my conversion chart, which I do have to have memorized for the test. Again, the left side is larger, the right side is smaller. So let's see, the first thing that I find are minutes and seconds. I don't need minutes and seconds, I need minutes and hours. So that one's not going to work. Okay, let's move down to the next one there. And here I have hours and minutes, and that's what I need to know, hours and minutes. So that's going to work. My conversion, therefore, is 60. So I go back to my problem and write my conversion in. So I have the problem 4 times 60. Well, I can do this as a simple basic facts problem. I can say 4 times 6 equals 24, and I can add that 0 on, which gives me 240. So 4 hours equals 240 minutes. So now I have a comparison. 240 minutes, is that greater than, less than, or equal to 200 minutes? Well, 240 is definitely greater than 200. So if 240 minutes is greater than 200 minutes, then 4 hours is greater than 200 minutes. So the question says, is the pair company's claim accurate? So then the question is, if 4 hours is greater than 200 minutes, did the battery last for at least 4 hours? And the answer to that is no. It lasted for 200 minutes, and 200 minutes is less than 4 hours. So the final answer? The pair company's claim is not correct, because the battery ran out before 4 hours. And that's the final answer. Please stop the video and complete worksheet number 3 right now. So let's review. Conversions of time are just like conversions of our customary units. We do the known equals the unknown, and then we do small to large or large to small, decide on our unit, and solve the problem. And the comparisons are also done just like our customary unit comparisons. And remember, for the test, we have to have memorized our customary units time chart. Remember, the larger units are on the left, the smaller units are on the right. 1 minute equals 60 seconds, 1 hour equals 60 minutes, 1 day equals 24 hours, 1 week equals 7 days, 1 year equals 52 weeks, 1 year also equals 12 months, and 1 year also equals 365 days. So hopefully by now you can confidently say, I can convert units of time, and I can compare units of time. As always, we will be doing more practice in class. If you have any questions or concerns, please see a teacher so we can sit down and help you with it. Good luck with this lesson.